Welcome to CIT218 Web Applications. I am your instructor, Lisa Ballback, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of the course and talk about what you need to complete for the first week of class. When you first enter our class, you're going to see kind of our course banner and then some links to different sites that you will find useful throughout the semester. And they are all technologies that we utilize in this class. Below that, you will find a link to live stream office hours. My office hours are Monday evening, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. and Tuesday from 3 to 6. I will not be in Zoom outside of office hours unless I am teaching a course. So office hours and live stream courses are really the only times I'm going to be in Zoom. So if you try to access the office hours outside of my posted hours, I'm not going to be there unless we arranged a separate meeting. So if these times don't work for you, it is not a problem for me to schedule a separate meeting, but you'll have to email me and we'll have to figure out a time that works for both of us. Below the link to the live stream hours are the links to a couple of our social media sites. On those sites, we typically post any kind of events that are happening that students can attend. These are CIT specific events. We also post job opportunities and internship opportunities. So checking the social media is actually a really good idea if you are pursuing a CIT degree. Below those social media links are the news and announcements from me. This is a discussion. And how I use this discussion board is when I'm done correcting for the week, I will post an announcement. That is kind of your clue to come into Moodle, go into the course dashboard, and check out your grades. If there was an issue or a problem in your assignment, I will deduct points, tell you what the problem is, and you are allowed to resubmit to get those points back. The student question and answer discussion board is for you to communicate with each other. So you can share information, ask each other questions. I don't typically go in there. So if it's a question about the course or a specific question about an assignment, you are better off asking me directly. Then you will notice that there are two different blocks displayed. So we're going to start with the course information block. And so this is for the first week of class. And all of the exercises and activities are due at the end of that first week, so Sunday, September 5th. And you will want to review the syllabus and the college syllabus. College syllabus is the same for every single class. So if you have already looked at it for a different class, what you're going to see here is the exact same. It's basically college policies. The course syllabus lists my office hours. So my office hours are actually listed in 3 different places, okay? So they're under the live stream link, they're in the syllabus, and they are also in the sidebar. Okay, so in the sidebar is that same office information. So 3 different places where you can find out where my office hours are. My office phone is here, my email, and then a description of the course. And I actually have to submit a change for this because our major focus on this is MVC. That is primarily what you are learning in this class. The textbook that we're using is ASP.NET Core, and we're using .NET Core 3. And it is a MURAC textbook. These textbooks are used in industry. They are reference books for developers. So some of the examples in the book are a little beyond what beginners should be looking at. So where appropriate, we will look at the examples in the book, but some of the examples are just beyond, what you need to do. And there's multiple ways of accomplishing things in MVC and in any programming language. And so for beginners, I like to show you guys the simple way to do things. So that's going to be kind of our focus when you're learning. Otherwise, it just gets really confusing. So the content in the chapters is excellent, but some of the more advanced chapters, the examples, do get a bit convoluted, and there's simpler ways of doing things. So I will show you the simpler techniques. In addition to the book, you do need the current version of Visual Studio Community with .NET Core installed. The appendix in your book provides information on that. You will need a GitHub account because all of your programming assignments are going to be pushed to GitHub. You'll need a LinkedIn account because that's what we do for our e-portfolio in this class. To create video, you can use Zoom or Jing, or if you have other software that you prefer, I'm fine with that. So whatever your preference is. And the same goes for video editing. I have a link here to a free editor, but if you like using something else, that's fine. For publishing your video, YouTube or screencast work well. As you know, I have a YouTube account. It's free and it actually works great. Let's see. As far as learning outcomes go, this class does assess critical thinking. And then we have some other learning outcomes that are basically general information about what you are going to learn in this class. Then we get into the grading scale, which is based on percentages. And 95 to 100% is a 4.0, 90 to 94% is a 3.5. So everything is based on total points. There's 1,000 points in the course. And the way that you get points is kind of outlined in this table. So we have discussion exercises. We also have a networking and professional development requirement. Those are all worth points. We have assignments. And the way I've handled assignments in this class is the exercises you need to complete are embedded in the lecture. So we basically talk about something, and then you'll see a hands-on section where you practice it. We talk about something, you practice it. Okay, so embedded in the lecture demo is the assignment. At the bottom of the lecture demo, it tells you what you need to turn in. We have a capstone project, which you will start working on after the first month. You'll start working on that as part of your assignment. So you'll be adding to it throughout the semester. At the end of the semester, you will be sharing your project with your classmates, and then you will be doing peer reviews of each other. There are a couple different exams in this class, and those are also worth points. We do not have a certification exam. So I know some of you will be thrilled to know that. So this is one of the only classes I teach that does not have a certification exam as the final. This little section basically goes through and explains, what the different graded assignments entail. And as far as the professional development and networking requirement, going to take a look here at the first block. So in this class, there are going to be times when you guys are going to want to do a little research so that you can figure things out. And that is where this requirement kind of comes into play. So anything that you research, whether it's for this class or another class, as long as it is computer related, you can get points for it. Also, any networking activity that you go to that is business or computer related, you can submit and get points for. So this link kind of outlines how the points work. And so there are specific events that you can attend that are worth points. And then there's something called custom event. So most students actually choose custom event. And so for that, I look at this table. So it's all kind of based on how much time you spent. Some of these, it says that you have to submit a 1 to 2 page paper. That I consider a very loose requirement. So I know some instructors, in the CIT area do expect a full paper. All you have to submit for me is a paragraph or two of what you learned, how much time it took, and, if you went through a tutorial at a website or whatever, I'd like the link. Okay. If you went to some kind of a conference, tell me the name of the conference. How many hours you spent, learning or, in training. Conferences involve networking. Tell me how many hours you spent networking. Okay. So I'm very flexible with this requirement. It's not meant to be a burden. It's meant for you guys to get points doing things that you normally do as a student or a professional in this field. So once you have either attended a networking activity or, done some research, you can go ahead and submit it. And again, I need, the name of the activity, how much time you spent, okay, and what you learned. And what you learned can be summarized in a couple paragraphs. I do not need multiple pages. Okay, so that is the requirement. And then we get into course communication. So this semester, we are still transitioning from COVID. So I am teaching online and live stream. So I am not going to be in the office much. But I do check email every day and I check email on the weekends. So that is a really good way to get a hold of me. And I think you guys can kind of read through the rest of this because there's really nothing unusual about the rest of the syllabus. It's pretty standard. The assignment schedule. This is something that you're going to want to print out because what you see listed for each week matches what I have posted at the top of each block. So what I recommend to students is that you print this out, and then as you complete things, you cross it off. And that way you can kind of stay on track for this course. You'll notice that we have everything kind of split by lesson. There's date ranges, and then there's due dates. There are 2 different orientation activities that you need to complete. The first one is a student profile glossary. And once you submit that, every time you come into our course, you are going to see a different student listed. And it's just kind of a nice way to get to know who's in the course. And if you hit reload or refresh, it will change the student in the spotlight as well. So you'll go in here and you'll add a new entry. And you'll notice I do have a video on this, a separate video. But if you add a new entry, your name is the concept. And then you're going to want to insert a picture. And I'm just going to go through this part because a lot of students don't do this right. So I want a picture of you. And you'll probably have to upload it. Choose a file from your computer. I'm just going to grab a recent one. And when this comes in, it is going to be too big. Okay, so make sure under size that you change the width to like 150, press tab, and then it'll keep your height and width in proportion, and it will be the right size for the profile glossary. Okay, and then below your picture, you can add a sentence that describes you, or if you prefer to do a quote like I did, that's fine. If you want to add hashtags that are descriptive of you, that is fine too. Okay, so this is kind of a free format. Name and picture are required, and then, whatever it is that you want to share about yourself. And again, this is something that if you have the sidebar showing, you will be able to see different students every single time you come into our course. The other orientation activity is the discussion exercise, and this is a little bit more detailed. You are going to come in and add a new discussion topic, and you're going to include your nickname, any interests or hobbies, and your major or your program of study. Also, any additional information you'd like to share about your work or your family is great. It's useful for me to know what your different computer background is, especially if you've used MVC before. That would be awesome to know. And you'll notice that I have an example, and I kind of overshare. So yours does not need to be this long. But I kind of use this as an opportunity to tell you what my background is and how I got into teaching. And then I summarize different course areas that I've taught in and what my hobbies are. So only share what you are comfortable with, and it does not need to be that long. So that's the orientation activities. Those all need to be done by September 5th. And once you finish those, then you are going to go through the lecture demo, which is the first chapter in the book. Now, before you do this, make sure you update Visual Studio because I haven't used Visual Studio in a while. There were a ton of updates. And one of the updates actually changed the way that you create MVC files. It also changed how the windows look when we push things to GitHub. So that's all I've noticed so far. And I did make adjustments in the lecture demo. I adjusted the graphics, and I also changed the video. But if you haven't applied all the updates, then you're probably going to see the old way, which no longer is in the lecture demo. So please do the updates. And I will tell you, my updates took a long time. There were a lot of them. So this first chapter, you can read through it. If you would prefer to, watch a video that goes through it, that's fine. You'll notice that I have kind of videos embedded in each section. So you can either read or watch, totally up to you. But you'll notice as you go through here, as I mentioned, we cover concepts and then we get to a hands-on. Okay, and the hands-on sections you do need to complete, okay, because they are your assignment. So the first hands-on, you are going to create kind of a simple little app. And I did include screenshots of the, what you need to do in addition to a video. And it's this screen that has changed. This used to have a create button and now it has a next button. And then the following screen is different as well. Okay, so there are a couple little changes here from the old version. The actual layout and interface window looks the exact same. Okay, and when you run it, all of that is the same too. So this first chapter is going to give you a feel for an MVC app. You will go in, create the app, kind of get a feel for what the different folders contain, how things are set up. I do include information on how to run the app, how to do just a little bit of customizing. Okay. We are actually going to go in and change a view. And I realize you guys are not going to know what this is yet, but that's okay. Okay, because the idea behind this first chapter is just to start getting you familiar with this and to get you familiar with processes that we're going to be using in this class. Okay, so we go through, complete this. There is a video for you to watch, or you can just walk through. And as you can see, it's all kind of laid out very linear. You read the section, you do the hands-on. Uploading to Git has also changed. Make sure that you download and install the GitHub extension for Visual Studio. This page does have directions on what you need to do. And as long as you have that installed, okay, then you should see add to source control. You click on that, there's a little Git button, and this has changed. It used to take us into the Team Explorer, and now there's a separate screen. The Team Explorer is still used for pushing updates, pulling content from Git, that type of thing. Okay, so after you create and push, it is kind of critical that you go out to GitHub and make sure everything is there. I cannot tell you the number of students who submit a link to their GitHub repository. I click it and the repository is empty. So you're not going to get points for an empty repository. So it's really important that you go to GitHub and you make sure all of your content got there. Okay, and again, we're just going through the different areas of the MVC app, just kind of general information to get you familiar with it. The way that we approach things in this course and the way the book works is the first 5 chapters basically take you through creating an entire MVC app with a database. They don't go into great detail, so it's kind of like bare bones, but you get an idea of how everything works. And then we cycle back and we do a little deeper dive into controllers, into models, into entity framework, okay, into creating views. So we go through everything. You get the big picture, see how everything works, and then we do the deeper dive. In case you have not purchased the book yet, I did get chapter 1 from the textbook publisher. This is the full chapter. Okay, and then you'll notice that in case you don't have Visual Studio, I have links to that, links to the extension for GitHub, and then some additional resources for you. Because MVC assumes that you remember HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax, I have resource links for you. Anything that you review, you should submit to professional development. Okay, so if it's been a while for you since you had JavaScript or anything like that, if you go through these tutorials and you review, keep track of your time, okay, and submit that because you can get points for it. So that is pretty much everything that we are doing this first week. If you have any problems or if you have questions, please let me know. If my office hours do not work for you, I can set up a different meeting, meet with you. You can share your screen and we can get the problem resolved. It's really important this first week, especially if you have problems uploading to GitHub or with your initial setup. It's important that we resolve those. Okay, so I am looking forward to working with all of you. I believe I've had all of you in class before. And let me know if you run into any problems or if you have any questions.